serious, it's fun, it's your Catholic drive time.
With Joe McClane and EmilyiAlcaraz.
But I do see our friend Jason Jones is on Zoom. Jason, you're muted. If you can unmute yourself, that'd be even better. But praise be to God.
Or worse. Good to see you guys.
Good morning, Jason Jones. Thanks for hanging out with us today. We're very grateful to you.
Morning.
Praise be to God. We want to talk about all your friends in Hollywood, if that's okay.
Uh-oh.
So, did you watch the Oscars?
I tried to, and then I just shut it off.
I mean, it was always kind of that way, but it's just gotten so bad, right? It's just nothing but stump speeches the entire show. Hollywood has gone full woke.
Hollywood has gone full woke. Well, the truth is not really. Like, you talk about my friends. I have so many friends in Hollywood that are I'm close friends with so many people that are big celebrities that I'm embarrassed for them to be my friend because, there's real consequences in that industry for, not conforming to the studios. And so Hollywood is very diverse politically. And, I have friends. I have a friend who's one of the biggest construction coordinators in Hollywood who was a Green Beret, in Vietnam. And he walks around, movie sets with Trump shirts and things like that. No one says anything to him. They respect him.
Praise be to God.
The problem is that the studio system demands conformity, right? And the agencies have an agenda. So many times I think when you hear these actors on stage grandstanding, they're really dancing to their agency's tune. They're just trying to get on the good side of their agents.
Now, we interviewed Nick Loeb a few weeks back about Roe v. Wade. Have you seen that film?
I have.
What did you think?
I thought it had a lot of Nick's spirit. It was a spirited film, and I could feel Nick in the film. I just interviewed Jamie Kennedy on my podcast about the film, and I said, it was a very spirited film. So, it was, I learned a lot.
Yeah. Actually,
I've been in the pro-life movement for 30 years, and I learned a lot.
I agree with that. But one of the thoughts I was having was we hear from Hollywood actors and producers and people who work in the industry who are conservative or even the religious people, Christians, and they're frustrated. They feel like they're being outcast. They feel like they're not getting roles. They're not getting opportunities. And the thought occurred to me, should we have, like John Schneider, for instance, who worked on that project? And I'm pretty sure, I don't know this, I forgot to ask Nick this question, we had him on. I'm pretty sure they filmed a lot with John Schneider at his place out in Louisiana. It's like that model of like having like a parallel Hollywood, so to speak. Do we as conservative and Christians, do we have to create like our own version of Hollywood, our own distribution methods? Do we create our own entertainment and we just ignore the others? Or do we have to work within their sphere? What do you think, Jason Jones?
I think both, right? People are placed in different positions. The media, the mainstream media declared after the Oscars had less than 10 million viewers.
Yeah.
Hollywood is dead, but movies are not dead. The movie industry is not dead. Maybe I had a major studio executive call me when I launched a boycott of his film and said that I would never work in this town again. And I just laughed. I was working from my home in Hawaii at the time. And I said, I'm never going to work in Kapolei, Hawaii. I'm like, well, this is 1983, bro. You have no power. Like, you have no power. And this was a major studio executive. So things have changed. The ball really is in our own court. We can produce our own films. We can find creative ways to distribute. If I was young, and I hate this term creative, but if I was a young quote unquote creative, I might not be looking at motion pictures. I'd be looking at Instagram and TikTok and, short form content and all the new ways that are popping up every day to distribute short form content. And especially as the attention span of every generation is getting smaller and smaller. And you could reach millions and millions of people. We had a meme that Movie to Movement made once, a graphic image that was shared on social media 800,000 times. It was shared, seen like 35 million. It had 35 million likes. And it was a pro-life meme. So there's so many ways to tell stories now. You can podcast. There's no barriers to entry for podcasting. You can you can make a film with your phone. You know, our phones have powerful cameras on them. There's great editing software. And then there's so many unique ways to distribute. So I feel liberated by all of this, you know, but again, I'm a producer, not a writer, director, actor that would probably want to, you know, not have all of their projects. You know, it takes between 7 and 14 years for the average film to be produced. So, you know, it's not the best strategy for a young actor coming up. You know, you do not want to be blacklisted and depend only on independent projects, because those projects take a long time to get going. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've had films I've been working on where we're looking at a young Christian actor for the lead, and then, you know, the film gets developed 7 years later, it's ready to go into production. Well, that kid that we wanted to put in the film is now not a kid, right? He's married and has 3 kids of his own. So I think it's both, you know, and I would never discourage anyone from quote unquote working in Hollywood, in the system. There's a lot of beautiful people in there, a lot of Christians, a lot of conservatives, but it is a shame to our industry that we have an industry where probably half of the people there, now more than half, maybe almost everyone, maybe half are conservative, but everyone is afraid to speak their mind. Yeah. Because woke culture changes every single day. And woke culture will go back and dox you till you were in elementary school. It's like the Cultural Revolution. You know, in China, in the Cultural Revolution, they would bring a 21-year-old up on the stage in front of the whole village and berate her for something she did when she was 14. And we would study that in political science when I was in college, and we'd say, well, how despicable. Something like that could never happen here. You know, and recently we saw that young girl that was on that horrible TV show, The Bachelor. She had no business being on. But they had doxed her to something she did in high school, going to some antebellum dance or something like that, and called her a racist. And I thought that reminds me very much of the Cultural Revolution, that we're so vicious and so cruel that we would dox children and then, you know, embarrass them in front of the world. And so it is a shame to our industry that everyone from top to bottom lives in fear. That's a fact. I can promise you that.
Jason Jones is our guest. We got about another 2.5 minutes with him. We're talking about the quote woke Hollywood and you know, what we can do about this. So about 2.5 minutes left, Jason. One of the thoughts that I had was, when the left makes like agendized movies, I'm thinking of Milk, Blood Diamond, Lords of War, films that have Darfur, films that have a political message, very agendized. They still make a good film. They still like put a lot of production effort into it, and it still has a lot of production value to it. But when we do it, we tend to fall in the production side. What do you think about that? Last question, 2 minutes on the clock.
Well, you know, I would say we don't, you know, the movies I make don't, and that's because we work hard and spend a lot of money. So, and it takes us a long time. I would say that it's a function of budget. Production quality is a function of budget. You know, the left makes a lot of lower budget films too. And so we should judge films by their budget. And so a lot of it's just a reality of the business. If, you know, you want to get a return for your investors, you have to try to keep the budget low. And Movie to Movement, we're a nonprofit. So if you saw our short film Crescendo that I produced with Justin Bieber's mom, Patty, you know, that's a $600,000 short film.
Wow.
$600,000, 15-minute short film. And
it was beautiful, by the way.
And that's what we made it as a nonprofit. We wanted to make a big, beautiful film that didn't make any sort of sense in the market, but there would be a monument that would last forever for the dignity of the child in the womb. So look, some of these films that have lower budgets tell very powerful stories, and they do a great job with the budget that they have. So that's just what it comes down to. You look at a film like Little Boy, which I think is one of the most beautiful films of all time that we were a part of, and that movie lost a lot of money for its investors. And then you look at some of these lower budget films, you might not like them. They don't look like Titanic, but they tell a beautiful, powerful story, and they do a great job, like an amazing job for the budget they had. And so I just look at it as budget. And we judge, when we say Hollywood left films, we take their best But there's thousands of these films that come out that are just trash, right?
Yeah. I liked The Little Boy, by the way. I thought it was very good. I thought it was a great story, and I thought it did very well. I don't know what your budget was, but I thought it was very good. Praise be to God. But we are out of time.
And hey, Minari was a great film. So there were some great films at the Oscars this year. I hope everyone watches Minari.
All right, Jason Jones, we'll have to have you back. God love you and God bless you. Thanks for getting up early today.
Aloha.
Take care. God bless you. And that is going to do it for the What's Concerning Us section.